Hello, lovelies. It is Davina Daras here with another video. I am feeling a lot better since my last video entry. I'm still going through the waves of emotions. Things still are not perfect in my world, but I am learning how to ride those waves and learning how to be present, and I would say reaping the benefits emotionally from that. Although there's still quite a bit of turbulence in my life, and there are still many, many tears that I am shedding at night, during the day, I am finding the strength and being present in it all and learning how to just be and to accept all that's happening. So for today's video, I felt really inspired because I've been thinking a lot about the feminine energy, the masculine energy. And I've been reflecting a lot on my life the last month. So a little background about me. I've gone through some pretty shitty things in my life, as have a lot of people. My family and I experienced poverty when I was young. We went through a lot of hardships involving men, not feeling safe around men, constantly being in this place of survival. And, you know, I've talked about my family before. I talked about my family in my last video. There's always been a lot of love and kinship between us. It was more like a sisterhood, but we were always surviving together. And something about that, when you have a bond with people that is so strong and so wonderful and, you know, so loving and so great, but when you go through something as a team that is so hard and you feel like you're constantly in this state where you can't really stop and enjoy your life, you're kind of always fighting for whatever it is that you have, or you're always chasing something because you don't know when you're going to have it again. And with all of this reflection, it's really shown me how much my life has thrown me into my masculine energy. And what masculine energy is it's there to protect you. It's like the knight in shining armor. It's your shield. It's the ego in a way. It's that voice that is, I don't want to say is always fearful, but is always mentally prepared for fear and for the worst to happen, because it's there to protect you. It's not entirely bad. It's just, it's strong. It's strong energy. It's energy that's by force. And a lot of my life I have spent in this energy. I have spent in this place, as has my family, both my mother and my sister, very strong, independent women. But because of the trials that they've had to go through in their lifetime as well, they have always been forced to kind of hold their ground and to be stoic in a way, and to only show their emotions in so many ways, and not really open up to their own vulnerability. And I did the same thing in my own way. You know, I grew up in a family of women, so that's a very feminine setting, a very feminine environment. I had the feminine energy in the sense of intuition, emotional intelligence. I had that motherly love and affection. You know, that was kind of the only affection that I knew growing up with my mother, my sister, my grandmother, who is no longer with us. You know, so I knew what love was and what it felt like, and I knew about the motherhood of femininity. But the one thing that I lacked, and that my family struggled to comprehend as well, was the ability to receive, to be in the flow, to be present, to allow ourselves to be taken care of, to exude our femininity from a place of peace and presence, so we could welcome in the masculine energy in a healthy way, a way that is receptive and responds in a way of love and vibrance, not of fear or defense. And, this is something I think that's kind of stuck with all of us in a lot of ways. And, in my early 20s, I worked really hard to tap back into my femininity. I was passionate about sensuality and sensualism, which I still am. I am a proud sensualist through and through, and will be for the rest of my life, as I have been since I was young. I just shut it off for a little while. But anyway, what I'm getting at is in my early 20s, I was tapping back into that feminine side of myself. But what I didn't realize is that that version of me was still fairly immature. I kind of call that phase of my life my sex kitten era. And what I mean by that is, I was this pretty young thing. I was like 21, 22, and all I really cared about was like clothes, boys, treating myself. I was receiving, but not really, because it was kind of coming from this place of, oh, I've never had this treatment before, so I deserve this, I demand this. It was coming still from a place of lack, because it was coming from a place of angst, and it was almost a bratty archetype that I was embodying. One of my favorite characters in history, this is very nerdy of me, is Catwoman. And so I was trying to channel that, like, independent, no need no man, I get what I want when I want, and I'm not tied down anywhere, I have no rules, I have no commitments, I'm just here. And so that's a feminine energy, but it's like a wounded feminine energy. I think it's the archetype of the siren, or it's what is it, femme fatale, a dark feminine, if you will. And that's just my perspective. Someone can tell me I'm wrong. But that was me in my early 20s. And, I had some fun for a couple years. I was completely in the present moment. I was in the flow in my own way. Got a lot of attention. But I was still incapable of forming real, concrete relationships with men. I still didn't feel safe. I still had my walls up. If anything, I just had my claws out this time. And, got involved with whoever, random guys that just hurt me and kind of threw me back into my masculine energy. And then in my mid-20s was all about maturity. I was trying to heal that wounded siren persona that I had. I was trying to heal all of the new wounds that I had gotten from my relationship with men who I should not have shared myself with. Because, I grew up without a dad, so I didn't have a healthy male figure. I didn't have positive masculine energy in my life. If anything, the only men in my life were men who either hurt me and my family, abandoned us, or in some devastating cases, passed away. So men were just non-existent. That masculine energy, I didn't have it externally. I had it internally in a form of protection. So my mid-20s was all about maturity and trying to heal the newfound wounds that I had. But what I didn't realize is that I was progressively becoming colder, because I was now feeling shame from things that happened in my early 20s. And I didn't want to be this like young and free and mindless girl anymore. I was like, okay, I need to be a grown-up now. I need to think about my life and my purpose. I need to think about my work. I became passionate about my business, which was wonderful. I dove head first into my business, and my love for helping people and for doing photography and coaching, and it felt like my life had meaning again. It felt purposeful. And these are wonderful things. These are things I don't regret. But what I didn't realize is that during this time, I was trying to heal these wounds, but I was also hardening myself. And I was using more of my mind than anything else. I was actually becoming pretty disconnected from my femininity again. It was just in a whole new way. You know, I still felt feminine in my physique, in my attire. You know, I still did all of like the girly things like wearing makeup, but I was channeling my energy differently. I was not in the flow anymore. And I was in my body, but I was in my body in this very strong masculine way. I felt more like a warrior than anything else. And for a couple of years, I kind of liked it because it kept me safe. And you know, I was channeling this masculine energy with confidence. Whereas when I was a teenager, my masculine energy presented itself as something darker, sadder. You know, I was the tall emo girl in the corner who no one wanted to talk to at school. Like, I wasn't confident in myself. I was hiding more than anything. Whereas in my mid-20s, I wasn't hiding anymore. Still loved myself. I was still confident, but that masculine energy was still taking over and not diminishing the feminine, but it was kind of trying to creep in there and be like, hey, I'm gonna shield you again for a minute because you got hurt again, and you know, you like dipped your toes into a pool that you shouldn't have dipped your toes in. So now I have to pick up the fucking pieces again, basically. Yeah. And then we're here in my late 20s now. Thank God. Praise the deities. Praise. We're here. And this year has been rocky so far. Well, I mean, the first couple months of being 27, they weren't as rocky. They were pretty great. You know, I made this big decision to move to Boston, Massachusetts. And, you know, I was really determined and passionate about that. I started photographing men. I added that into my business, and that has been very wonderful and cathartic. And I've met so many amazing guys who, honestly, just having men be vulnerable and open with me has been very cathartic in my own way. And it's subconsciously healed the feminine in me by holding space for men who are not predatory or who are not there to hurt me. So it's really pushed me and shown me a lot. And upon doing this, you know, I met someone in the fall who became a very wonderful friend and who I very quickly developed feelings for. And I developed feelings for this person through friendship, emotional intimacy, genuine connection, you know, a connection that goes beneath the surface, one that was not initially based off of lust or anything physical, which was all I experienced in my early 20s. Because when I came back into my sensuality and started to be confident and sensual, I got a lot of attention, but it was all shallow. You know, it was men seeing me, but not really seeing me. And I really struggled with that. And so in my mid-20s, when I was trying to carry myself differently, it was because I was mad. I don't want to say I was mad at men, but I was mostly mad at myself because I felt like now that I was getting all this attention, I was getting the wrong attention. People weren't seeing me for my heart anymore. They were just seeing me because they thought I was so pretty. And so when I met this particular person this past fall, it was the first time in years where I felt like I was connecting with someone as a human being, not just as this sexy, liberated woman. I mean, that is me, but I felt seen for the first time. And not to get too much into this because it's a personal story to me and this individual. But, you know, I fell really hardly for this person, and I shared space with this person. I shared love with this person. And for the first time, and honestly in my whole life, my femininity in those moments felt safe. I felt open. I felt like me. And, you know, me and this person didn't work out for our own reasons, but having that experience has I don't want to get emotional. It's touched me in a way that like I thought I would never be touched in my heart. And, you know, it really is true what they say when you feel safe in someone's arms and someone's presence with a man. You know, the right man will really bring the feminine out of the woman, and the right woman will really bring the masculine out of the man. And when I say that, I'm not talking about gender roles in society. I'm not talking about all of the surface level bullshit that everyone talks about when they talk about men and women. I'm talking about what's in here. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about spirit. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about essence. And having this beautiful, loving experience has really, it's been painful. It's like I've been heartbroken for the last month because things didn't work out with this person. But having this beautiful experience of, for the first time, feeling like my heart is open and it doesn't want to close again. I don't want to go back into my typical defense mechanisms. My reactions are so much differently now than they were however many years ago. In the past, my response would be to either run away, to shield myself, to suffer in silence, to be resilient, to be stoic, and to just blunder through and to prove that I'm a warrior and I can handle anything. Whereas this time around, with everything that's happened in my life, not only with this person, the heartbreak of this person, the loss of my grandma, and basically having to like wipe all my savings because I had to have oral surgery and just my finances, I can't speak, no editing. My finances are just not in the place ideally that I'd want them to be. It's almost like I was stripped of everything. I was stripped of all my dreams. I was stripped of the person I thought that I needed to be worthy and to be successful. And I've been forced to come back into the now and to come back here. I've been forced to really go into my heart. That's where I need to be. That's where I have to be, to dive into the depths of me. And for the first time, I'm not telling myself that I need to do something else. I'm not sitting around and thinking about all the what ifs and trying to analyze, why didn't this work? Why did this happen? This. That's usually what I always do when I'm grieving in some way, when I'm heartbroken, when I'm hurt. My response is to justify absolutely everything and to get mad, basically, and find all these reasons as to why I should put my walls back up and not be vulnerable again because I got hurt. That voice trying to protect me, that strong wall that's like, see, this is why we need to be here. And instead of doing that, I'm just allowing myself to be sad. I'm allowing myself to not be okay and to know it's okay to not be okay. You know, it's not going to be like this forever, but for now, this is how it is. For now, I'm sad. For now, I'm heartbroken. For now, I'm grieving. For now, I don't have a ton of money. And I have felt very defeated. The only word that comes to mind for this part of my life right now is surrender. The only thing I can think of is the Tower card out of tarot. Everything has come crashing, and I think it's still crashing. But with this, I have also learned the beauty of receiving compassion and receiving help and receiving love from other people. You know, the past month, I have been shown so much kindness and so much love from both women and men. And I have really allowed myself to receive. And that's what it means to be in the feminine. It doesn't mean to be perfect. It doesn't mean to look a certain way. It doesn't mean to act a certain way. It means to be present, to be in the flow. It means to receive. It means to be emotional, to be intuitive. It means so many things, but receiving, allowing yourself to receive, being open and allowing yourself to receive, allowing yourself to be taken care of, is to be in the feminine. And as sad as I am, as emotional as I am, it feels so good to not fight what I feel anymore. You know, I've always been a feeler, I've always been emotional, but I've processed my emotions in a very specific manner, which usually is to deal with the thing and then delay the feelings for later, to let them out when I'm in a safe, private place, to only let certain people see certain emotions. I'm used to emotional navigation. I'm used to being really, really good at emotional control. Like, honestly, I feel like it's my gift. Maybe I'm like Jasper out of Twilight. I don't know, but with myself, not other people. But yeah, for the first time in my life, I'm just here. And whether I'm happy, I'm sad, I have a good day, a vibrant day, a bad day, a day where I cry, I'm just here. And it feels so good to be here. And it feels so good to trust that. And I think more of us need to do that. I think more of us need to allow ourselves to stop and to just be. You know, I spent this month mostly resting, recovering from my surgery. And even when I did that, I was like, wow, I am physically sore as fuck. I have significantly less money, but I'm here. I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing what's necessary for me. This is self-care. This is self-love. This is what it means to just be. And I'm just accepting that. And if I get hurt from loving someone and them not loving me back, or someone not having the emotional capacity to be with me, instead of trying to villainize in my mind and create more walls, or victimizing myself, shaming myself, and saying to myself, this is why you shouldn't be open, this is why you shouldn't do this, because that's what I'm used to. I'm just accepting. I'm accepting the hurt. I'm accepting the pain. And I know I'm not deserving of that pain. I know that I should be treated better. I know that I am an amazing person with a big heart, and I love so much and I give so much, and I'm learning how to let go. And the only way to let go is to accept what is, and to let go with love, to lead with love. If my intentions are with love, my intentions are sincere, I don't really have to worry about anything else. If I know I'm a good person, I know my actions are genuine, are good, then I'm good. And I'm learning how to trust that. And right now I am literally sitting in a hotel room that I did not pay for. Someone booked a shoot with me and then had to cancel for personal reasons. And they were just like, but enjoy the room, you know, have you time. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And I have spent this night in this nice hotel room, writing my heart away. I have been spending so much time writing. I got myself takeout from my favorite restaurant, and I'm about to go up to the rooftop bar and just sit up there with a mocktail and a book. And yeah, you know, I'm like, yeah, I deserve this. Even though the person canceled on me, sometimes you don't get the thing you want, but you get the thing you need. And that's how I feel. And I'll say this for another video, but I've also been spending so much more time writing and reading. And as everything has happened the past couple months, I do really feel like a part of myself has died. And I don't feel like I've been reborn. I feel like I've returned. I feel like I've come home to myself. And I've let go of the parts of myself that I thought, I've let go of the parts of me that idealized who I thought I should be. And I'm honoring who I truly am. I'm unlearning specific patterns and embracing who I am right now. And returning to my love for writing at full force, because that is a part of me that has always been there since I was a child, but I deemed it as not good enough because it wasn't visual enough. You know, doing photography, people see that. People see me. Everyone wants to see. You know, we're obsessed with visual stimulation. And I'm learning how to let that go. You know, I still love photography. I still want to do it in my own way. But I have really underestimated the power of my voice. And I'm not doing that anymore. So I've been spending a lot more time writing and dancing. Dancing is my other greatest love. But I'll talk about that another time. So it's now been 25 minutes that I filmed this. But essentially what I'm getting at, the point of why I wanted to make this video, is that to be feminine is to receive. And after many, many years of trials and error and self-doubt, and even through another heartbreak, I allowed myself to get cracked open. And what it did was shatter that incredibly tough exterior that was keeping me safe. And it has brought me back into softness, into wholeness, honoring my sacred. And that is to be feminine. That is to be a woman. That is who I am. That is my essence. That is me. And I'm just so incredibly grateful to be here. That's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope you took something from this that was helpful. Until the next time, thank you.